Hello, and welcome to this webinar series on doing business in Guyana with GuyanaBusiness.com, Guyana's premier global business community. Next slide, please. So, Guyana has some of the highest GDP growth in the world. Last year, it was 44%. The International Monetary Fund statement in March of this year places the economy to grow by 14% per year for the next 5 years. Now, this webinar is part of a webinar series, and we have 5 of them which we'd originally set up. The first, which is about how to start your business, would have covered ideation and research. The second, which is about planning your business trips, looked at business culture and trade connections. This webinar, number 3, is all about setting up your new company. So in terms of the inception and the legal frameworks that you would need to adopt if you want to set up a business in Guyana. Webinar 4, which is due next month, is going to be all about business banking. So that includes things like your account setup, how you would manage things like financial transactions. And webinar 5 is going to be focused more on business operations. So that will include things like technology, people, and process. So let me first of all introduce myself. My name is Robert Lee, and I'm the founder and CEO of Reyes Group, GuyanaBusiness.com, and Gateway Guyana Holdings Inc. Reyes Group and GuyanaBusiness.com are based in the UK, and Gateway Guyana Holdings is based in Guyana. With me today is Mandisa Breedy. Mandisa is an attorney at law, and she's also our legal director with a private practice in excess of 20 years. Her postgraduate specializations include commercial and corporate law, international trade, and intellectual property law. She's provided guidance to numerous companies on registration, compliance, licensing, and business matters. She is our legal officer at GuyanaBusiness.com, and she's also the director and principal legal officer at Gateway Guyana Holdings Inc. With me on the call today as well is also Fiazi Baksh, who is our digital cloud solutions architect, and she is also our Google-trained senior developer for Google Workspace Solutions, our apps, and software development. Welcome, Fiazi. And finally, we also have Sherwin Naughton on the line, who is the country director for trade and investment at the Department for Business and Trade at the British High Commission for Guyana as well as in Suriname. His expertise lies in trade policy, things like analysis, government, data, and strategic planning. He holds a postgraduate degree, which is focused on international studies from the University of Guyana. And just a little known fact is that Mandy, Sherwin, and I all went exactly to the same school, QC, Queen's College in Guyana, where we spent many a day, I think, trying to escape from classes, but those are memories. Anyway, Sherwin, welcome.
Thank you very much, Rob. And indeed, yes, we're trying to escape a few days, some of the days.
So, Sherwin, just to pull you into the conversation, can you tell us a little bit more about what's happening with the business landscape right now in Guyana, please?
Okay, so thanks again, Rob. But before I go into that, I just wanted to quickly, it would be remiss of me not to speak a little bit about the Department for Business and Trade here in Georgetown and what we do, and especially for UK companies. And what we do, we offer access to buyers and governments and in the supply chain. We also help to facilitate pre-visit briefings for companies. We do export opportunity alerts, sector-based market visits. We also organize seminars and we take part in seminars such as this, and we also support companies in terms of market research. So that's a little bit about the Department for Business and Trade. Now, in terms of what's happening in Guyana, quickly, I would, in order to understand where Guyana is I think we need to take a step back and to
Mhm.
talk about Guyana pre 2015. Now, if you were to talk about Guyana or ask a question about what is Guyana pre 2015, we would say in the Western Hemisphere, uh, when we were ranking countries, it would be Haiti at the bottom. Next up, Guyana, being the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And what that really means, what it meant at that time, I would say, is that you had poor infrastructure, you had weak institutions, weak legal and legislative frameworks, enforcement of laws were again quite weak, low technology, and a heavy paper based system. And all of that changed when Guyana became an oil producing nation in the end of 2019, December 2019 to be exact. And there were what about 40 oil discoveries, over 40 oil discoveries in Guyana for that time of about 11 billion barrels of recoverable resources. And what is expected is Guyana is going to earn just this year is going to earn about 4.2 billion US dollars and about 7.5 billion US dollars annually from 2030 as the new projects from Exxon and its partners as they come online. What we've
Wow.
seen so far is a heavy investment by government. I think the plan is that Guyana is not going to be dependent on oil. So there's been a lot of investment in transforming the economy, transforming the infrastructure. So there's heavy emphasis on new roads, new bridges, expansion of airports, housing development happening, and investments in agriculture, healthcare, and education. And so that is what has been we're seeing it's almost happening on a daily basis where things are being renewed, things are being transformed, and it's being done in phases. So first of all, government was looking at putting in the critical infrastructure, what was missing, and now they're looking at expanding the infrastructure across the entire country.
Right. So with that kind of massive expansion, then I mean, surely there's a hell of a lot of opportunities for companies looking to access the markets to be able to supply these things. Heavy infrastructure. I mean, you need a diverse, wide, and quite frankly, very well capitalized set of businesses to come in and work on those, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, the opportunities are across all the sectors in Guyana. So there's a primary focus on infrastructure, and when we talk about infrastructure, we're talking about construction that's happening across the country in terms of houses, new hotel developments happening, opportunities in healthcare development, in education, the expansion of technical and vocational education happening, uh, in information technology, in security, especially cybersecurity. These are some of the areas that we are seeing investments happening. We are seeing opportunities opening up, simply because there's the demand in country for skills, for goods and services across these sectors is really outstripping the demand is outstripping the supply chain. And in terms of we are seeing a hemorrhaging of skills by the oil and gas sector, because most of those skills are moving from manufacturing and other sectors into oil and gas. So
Right.
again, there's that gap that has developed.
So we need more people, and we need more trained, skilled, qualified
Yeah.
well, training to happen for the existing population that's over there as well. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so like, we're seeing all of this stuff that's happening. What are companies? What can they do in order to take advantage of this kind of situation right now? Because it sounds like a great opportunity, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It is a great opportunity, and uh, companies need to get in now. Now is the time to really get in and start doing some of the hard work to get in country. Now, first of all, to take advantage of the opportunities, I think companies, I think, need to do their research.
Right.
Understand the market, where it's heading, and talk to resources such as ourselves at the Department for Business and Trade, and also companies like yourself, Rob, the GuyanaBusiness.com. There's also a British Chamber of Commerce here in Guyana for UK companies that help companies to soft land in country, and
Hmm.
also set up a business in Guyana, or to engage in terms of finding a local partner. We're looking for a joint venture or distributor for whether it be a good or a service. I think these are uh, some of the important points that need to be made for companies. And most importantly, I would say, visit the market. There's
Hmm.
nothing better than visiting the market, being in country, engaging, understanding the various nuances, the understanding and immersing yourself in the culture. I think visiting the market really gives that really good understanding. You can't do business in Guyana just via the virtually.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult to do it that way. So visiting the market, being in touch with us, getting in touch with yourself, and GuyanaBusiness.com to support that market visit. I think that's very important.
Absolutely. And we completely agree. I mean, that is precisely why we've set these webinars up, because we wanted to explain to people that it's not just a case of you can do things like you might expect.
Yeah.
Say, for example, in the UK, we could go on Company's House, quickly get a company
Yep.
set up,
Yes.
set up a bank account, virtually within a few minutes to a few days. That doesn't happen in Guyana. Like the infrastructure, the digitization, and the things that you would expect ordinarily if you were like, for example, if you're based in the UK, just doesn't exist in Ghana. So you need companies like companies like GuyanaBusiness.com, and of course there are other partners as well who are available in order to be able to execute and do the functions of doing things like company setup on your behalf while you're remote, and to be able to do it securely as well from a very trusted partner. I think those are some really key things to consider. So
Yeah.
thank you very much, Sherwin. Is there anything else you'd like to add in terms of other resources or someone that they might be interested in?
No, not really. I think just to see the companies that myself and my team were available to support UK companies looking to do business here. I think from a Guyana context, it's all about partnership, being in touch with the various companies to here in Guyana,
Hmm.
looking for a local partner, looking for a distributor for your product. I think it's all about partnership. It's all about long-term sustainable partnership.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be easy, and so, but I think the opportunities are tremendous, and companies need to just come now and take advantage.
Yeah, I think that is the message that we've all been hearing really from everyone who we've encountered in terms of doing business in Guyana, is that they can't believe when they get there that all of these opportunities actually do exist. Because if you're looking at your like sort of 1% growth in whatever
Yeah.
country you're in right now versus the 14% that the IMF predict that the economy will grow by over the next 5 years,
Yes.
every year,
Yeah.
14% every year for the next 5 years, it makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is where
It
it's
is
at.
good,
This is
man.
where it's happening.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity, Rob.
No problem. Okay. I think we're going to move it on to Mandisa now. So, if we bring up the next slide, please. So, like you've heard from Sherwin, you're kind of already uh, raring to go. You've figured out, you've got the ideation, you figured out the concepts and the things that you would like to bring to market, or and you've done your research thoroughly, and of course, hopefully you've spoken to us as well, or whether it's Department of Trade and so on, and you've figured out exactly what you want to go and do, and potentially you've come into the country and you visited. Now you're kind of ready to set up your business in Guyana, and this is where the services of Mandisa as part of GBC, GuyanaBusiness.com, is going to be perfect for you, because she will now take you through the actual steps of what you need to do to set up your business in Guyana. Mandy, over to you.
Thank you, Robert. Hello, everyone. And yes, as Robert said, you would have Guyana would have caught your interest, you would have done your research, decided what you're going to do, and now it's time to figure out how you get your feet on the ground and get your company going. So, step one is to choose your registration type. You can either register as an external company, a local company, or as a sole trader. So for registration as an external company, this would be applicable, for example, if you already have an established company where you're coming from, you already have that goodwill established in the business community, and you want to bring that with you. So for that, as I said, we can facilitate registration of your company as an external company, which means you come with the name of your existing company and we register it here, and you're able to continue carrying on business here in Guyana using that already established company name that you have. That will likely reduce some of your market entry issues. Because, as I said, if you already have that goodwill in the business community, transplanting that here will likely soften the land and get you into business a little faster. Option two is you register a brand new company under our local laws, and you start your business there. There's also the option to register as a sole trader. That's for the smaller businesses that maybe want to start small and then build on that. You can register as a sole trader just by registering your business name, and you continue the process from there. Next slide, please. So, in terms of actually getting your registration going, the first thing you have to do, of course, is to decide what name you're going to use. So, if you're already registering as an external company, you have your name, you use that. If you're registering a new company, you have to choose a name for your company that is compliant with our laws. And we usually have to inquire from the company's registry whether that name is available for you to use. So we usually advise our clients to give us two or three names that you want to use. We will inquire, see which one is available, and then we go forward with that. So you can put thought into it, decide how you want your company to be recognized. You come up with your names, and we would take it from there for you. This also applies when you are registering as a sole trader. Next slide, please. Now, once you've selected your name and we've gotten permission to proceed using that name, next comes the exciting part, all that paperwork and documentation. At this point, we prepare your documents. We tell you which dotted line to sign on, where to put your autographs, and we take the registration process from there. As a part of this registration process, you will have to decide on who your company officers will be, who your directors will be, your company secretary, where your office will be located, your registered office, what your share capital will be, what your authorized capital will be, and those finer details that are also exciting and interesting in the ordinary course of things. This aspect, however, is extremely important because this provides the groundwork and the legal framework within which your company will operate once it's registered. So it's not something that you can take lightly. It's something that we will discuss in detail with you and help you decide something as presumably small, but very important, is deciding how many directors you will allow your company to have, whether you're going to issue shares in your company, whether you will have restrictions on what can be done with those shares after they're issued. So we will advise you on these finer points, and based on what you decide after we've given you that advice, we will prepare your paperwork, you'll autograph it as I indicated, and we will then file that paperwork on your behalf. Next slide, please. Now, again, as part of the registration process, there will be a checklist of the required documents. We will require identification documents for your proposed officers. We will require information on the type of business you intend to carry on, because that also has to be indicated in your documentation. Next slide, please. Now, once your documents have been finalized and we have gotten all the signatures that we need, we will then present your documents to the registry for them to be processed and for your company to be registered. That, of course, will take some time. Nothing is instant here in Guyana, unfortunately. But that will take some time. And once there are no queries, no issues, or other problems, which we have not had before, of course, your company will be registered. Next slide, please. So the processing of that application can take anywhere from 2 weeks to maybe a month, sometimes longer, depending on if there are other issues affecting the process, external issues that we have no control over. Next slide, please. So now we've gone through what should be the hard part, and you have your certificate of registration saying that you have a company registered in Guyana. What are your next steps? Next slide, please. Now, the post-registration aspect of it is just as important as the pre-registration. Prior to registration, we advise you on the things that need to be done so that your company can function within the legal framework. After registration, now, once you're registered, we then advise you on the things that you will need to do to ensure that your company is compliant. So after registration, you will have to get a tax identification number, which you will need to do any kind of business here in Guyana, whether it is getting your bank account set up, applying for contracts, anything of that nature. You will need that taxpayer identification number. So that is usually the next step after your registration. Once you intend to employ persons within your company, you have to be compliant with the labor laws. And one of the labor laws that you need to be compliant with is registering your company as an employer with the National Insurance and Social Security Scheme. That as well is a process that we would guide you through, provide the necessary paperwork, get that done for you. Now, each of these processes requires a different set of paperwork, which would include the documents that are issued after your company is registered. So your certificate of registration, your notice of your directors, where your address is, all of that information has to be provided for each of these post-registration steps, which is why it has to be done in this order. Now, if you are going to be operating in certain areas, you will require special licenses. If you are importing, if you plan to do manufacturing, there's different licensing that you may need to get. We would be able to advise you on that once you've given us that information ahead of time. And once your registration is completed, we can then get that process of licensing started on for you. We would also advise you on what your taxation and reporting responsibilities would be after your company is registered. There are requirements for annual returns. There are requirements for registration with the VAT administration system once your income is going to be above a certain amount. So those are things that we will advise you on depending on the nature of your business and the information that you disclose to us during that process. And also, we would advise you on getting access to banking services depending on what your particular needs will be. Whether you will be needing overdraft facilities and that kind of thing. But of course, the first step would be to actually get you into the bank and set up with a bank account so that you can actually do business in Guyana. Next slide, please. So yes, You've done the groundwork. We can get you through the harder part of it, which is the paperwork, and then we get you out into Guyana doing your business. There's one other thing that I did not remember to mention, but once you're coming to do business in Guyana, if you are coming with your existing external company, or if you are coming into Guyana to set up a new company, and you have products and services, you have uh, logos, you have trademarks, we can also guide you through the process of protecting those trademarks and those logos, registering them under our relevant laws, so that once you come into Guyana to do your business, your trademarks, your logos, and any other intellectual property is protected while you do business here. So make an appointment, let us know how we can help you, right? And your checklist here, as I indicated, you choose your registration format, you select your name, we get the documentation done for you, you sign on the dotted line, we process, and we take you through the post incorporation steps. And once that is done, you're ready to do business in Guyana. Next slide, please. So, if you would like to have a detailed checklist of the things that are needed for you to actually set up your business in Guyana, you can send an email to the email on the screen, and I will hand you back to Robert. He will give you more details on this.
So Mandy, you know, everything that Mandy said is exactly how it works. One thing that, and just because of the way how we've done this webinar is we've condensed the information for you to make it very easy to consume. But there is something which is a time factor that is a part of this, especially if you're remote and you're overseas and you want it to be done securely. And that means that a lot of the documentation, because sometimes they can be done concurrently at the same time, but some have to be done in series. So, like Mandy said, you will have to get your registration documents first, sign those, and then send them back. And then afterwards, some of the other things can happen, whereas some things can happen together. And all of this will take some time. So, the one thing that we try and do is to make sure that that time is as condensed into a short amount of time as possible. So if you're, let's say, for example, in Singapore, and we have to, FedEx the documents directly to you because they have to be wet signature signed, right? There is no ability to do any of this by, oh, send me a PDF and then afterwards I'll sign it, scan it, and send it back to you. It doesn't work like that. Am I correct, right, Mandy?
Yes, no electronic signatures, wet signatures only.
And that is one of the things that we make sure happens properly so that you don't have any issues and too many backwards and forwards in terms of getting your company set up. And yes, it is like that because of the way how legislation currently is, because there's no legislation for things like digitized signatures to be utilized. So if you do want this detailed checklist, there is an email address right here, which is listed on the webinar. It's checklist at guyana-business.com. And if you want that detailed checklist, please send us an email today and we will get that sent directly to you so that you can understand the way how the process would work in terms of getting your business set up. And next slide, please. So thank you very much, Mandy, for that, and appreciate everything that you've said just now. If you wish to find other sources of information who can support you as well, there's many others. So our job here at GuyanaBusiness.com is to make sure that you have as much information at your disposal as possible. So there's plenty of people who can provide certain things to you. Chambers of commerce are great places to look for information. They're especially helpful for support with things like business networks and connections. We're members of the American Chambers of Commerce as well as the British Chamber of Commerce too. So we sit in both camps and we understand the way how these networks work and also the connections that sit within them. Another great body to go and find information from is the Office of Investment which is also called Go Invest Guyana. They can provide things like market intelligence and will offer the ability for you to go and apply for things like concessions. Let's say, for example, you're bringing in lots of machinery, or there might be some sort of special dispensation which might be applicable to your type of business. Let's say it's like structural steel or something like that. I'm just using these as examples, by the way. Then you can apply for these kinds of concessions directly through them. And again, like like we're saying, we're here to help you find all the information so that you can quickly gain access to be able to do these things. Commercial banks, of course, will let you do the deposit, the lending, and can provide you the ability to move your money around. Of course, things like government ministries are there, and they're responsible for executing the functions of the state. So they will also have their own websites and information about what they're up to and all the various initiatives that are taking place across the country. There are also things like government authorities, and they're actually responsible for administering the laws of the state, which is slightly. Then have the embassies as well as the high commissions of various different countries. The ones we tend to deal with mostly are UK and US, in terms of maintaining and developing relationships between those countries as well as with Guyana. Next slide, please. And as I was saying just now, we are here to help. And one of the ways that we can do that is to make sure that we give you legal services upfront so that you have access to all of the relevant information and the laws and things like understanding compliance issues way in advance before you have to go around and search around and try and figure it out yourself. That preliminary business setup consultation, you can go ahead and you can purchase it right now. And what that would give you is some information from us and our time to be able to go in and give you the expert advice and the kind of professional service that you would come to expect from somebody who's from a company that's trying to give you market access and the ability to understand what's going on in Guyana. You can click on the QR code and you can book a session with us in here. And the actual cost of that come off your final legal bill. So you don't have to kind of think like, I'm just doing this, if I go ahead and do company setups, it's going to be something else. We actually take it off the final cost of whatever your legal setup costs or other legal services that you might need from us, and that will come off that final bill. Next slide, please. And with that, I'm just going to bring in Fiaizi back. She will tell you a little bit more about the Guyana Business Community app and all of the wonderful services it provides for entirely free to the Guyana business community. Fiaizi.
Thank you, Rob. Hi, everyone. I am Fiazi, the technical lead at GuyanaBusiness.com. Now, let's talk about the Guyana Business Community app that you've been hearing so much about. It's the one platform that brings together everything you need to access the business market in Guyana. Now, it's designed to help you find opportunities, connect with others, and grow your business. One of the most used features in the app is the bids section, which is updated weekly with contracts from major sectors like oil and gas, government, and private sector. Now, you can see a couple of screenshots here. This is what it looks like once you're inside of the app. Pretty easy to use, mobile friendly, and full of useful and relevant data, but I'll let our users be the judge of that. Now, to get access, just scan the QR code on the screen and sign up. You'll get full access details by email within 24 hours. Next slide, please. Now, the app offers a lot more than just bids and contracts. It's a full business platform, so you can also get a company's directory, search and connect with registered businesses, including local content suppliers. Now, this is super helpful if you're trying to tick those compliance boxes for oil and gas services. And then we also have property listings, whether it's your next office, commercial space, or a rental for your business trip. It's all available right here in the app via Guyana Estate. And we also have our notice board where you'll see a lot of community announcements and business news in Guyana. You can also access discounts and promotional offers right there in the notice board. You'll hear more details about one of those discounts in just about 2 minutes. And as you can see from these screenshots here, it's just a glimpse of those features that I've just mentioned. Next slide, please. Now, why should you be using the app? Firstly, it's built for the Guyana market, meaning it's tailored for your local needs. You can get early access to bids, contracts, and all business opportunities. It can help you with your business visibility by promoting your services and connecting with others. You can stay informed on business news and key industry trends. And best of all, the content is completely free. Now, we've built this app to help you and, of course, your business. So, why not join us? Take a moment to scan the QR code and get your access today. And if you have any questions or you need any help, just email us at appsupport@ganabusiness.com. And I promise you, a real human will reply. It's probably just going to be me, but still. Well, that's all from me, and I'll see you in the app. Back over to you, Rob.
Thank you very much, Real Human. Oh, that's wonderful, and Fiazi is absolutely right with that. In terms of everything that the Ghana Business Community app does, it's there as a free resource for you to use, and there's lots of really, really useful information that we've extracted and pulled together for you. Um, there's so many people who go onto the app and tell us that they found bids and tenders that they would love to be able to access. I guess, of course, the next step then is like, how do you do that? So, one of the things that was actually mentioned a little bit earlier was that, yeah, we need to, if you need to come into Guyana and you need to visit, then that's probably one of the best ways to do it, is to come into the country and stay for a few days. And we've got a really great offer which is available right now, and that is the Marriott, which is probably the best and most well-known hotel in Guyana, has a corporate discount, and they've given us the exclusive corporate discount of 15%, which is being offered to all new Guyana Business Community app members. It is available in the notice board, so if you haven't done so and you're planning on visiting Guyana, sign up today and get access to that discount offer when you come for your stay. Next slide, please. And Fiazi mentioned just now about the app and also some of the information with regards to finding a place to either stay, like temporarily for a short period of time. It might be Airbnbs, that type of thing, or it might be somewhere that you're actually looking to find to purchase or lease, or maybe even hire. And you can find those types of properties on our sister website, which is GuyanaEstate.com. And many of the actual entries in GuyanaEstate.com are also listed in the Guyana Business Community app as well. So we're trying to give you as much information as possible at the point of contact where you're looking for information about doing something in Guyana. So we're helping you out with bids, tenders, places to stay, and also places to potentially buy or maybe set up your commercial offices, or indeed lease long term. So these are great services, and again, these are completely free as well. So feel free to head to GuyanaEstate.com and figure out and the best way to find your perfect spot in Guyana. Next slide, please. So that's kind of it in terms of a wrap up for webinar number 3. Webinar number 4, which is all about getting a business bank account set up in Guyana, is going to happen on Thursday, the 5th of June this year. So if you're interested in finding out more information about what you need to do in order to get your bank account set up, and because you would have followed the steps from ideation through to visiting, through to company setup, and now you're really ready to go, then this is the webinar for you. Make sure you register and you sign up for it, because we're going to have really great experts from the banking industry who will help you with information about what you need to do in order to get a bank account, specifically a business bank account, set up and running in Guyana so that you can handle transactions over here. Last and final slide is to just thank you to all of our listeners on the webinar and all of those who watched it. We would love it if you can just do us one huge favor, and that is to like, subscribe, and also share this with your networks so that the information can proliferate and you can, help other people as well who might be interested in doing business in, like I said, the fastest growing economy in the world. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And thank you very much for attending the webinar. Take care. Bye-bye.